From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is Wake Up Weather.
Hey folks, good morning. I'm here with you in the Home Weather Center for your Wake Up Weather. Of course, we'll be fully staffed in the Weather Center as we head through today. I'll be back in this morning. Taylor Plott will be in the studio. Sam Camp will be helping us out with production as well. Of course, Chief Meteorologist Fred Gossage will be there with us all day and tonight. And Ben Luna will be on standby as well. So we are fully staffed in this respect. Now, taking a look at what we can expect here for the next several hours. We're already seeing some of that rain, those heavy downpours mixed in, and some rumbles of thunder, right? But this is not the main round we're talking about. This is not the severe weather threat that we've been keeping an eye on over the last several days. This is just some what we call elevated thunderstorms here, kind of riding the warm front, lifting north. Temperatures are still far, far too cool for any meaningful severe threat, just some noisy little downpours, things like that. Now, as we head through the next several hours, we kind of hold on to that. We still have that moisture building across the area, so those shower and storm chances aren't going anywhere anytime soon in the near term for the next few hours, but they do start to lift off to the north as we head through late morning into the early afternoon. So I'd say by the time we're heading through about midday to 2 p.m., we start to let go of most of those rain chances, and man, check that trend out. We really start shooting those temperatures back up mid to upper 60s across the area. Off to our south, we're already seeing some of those 70s pinging on the futurecast. So it shows you that warm, moist air just surging into the area. It's also why we have that wind advisory. That's not for, the storms, right? That's actually just for the non-thunderstorm wind gusts, which could be really pretty high with that strong southerly moist surge into the area. That's also what's helping fuel these storms later. And by later, I mean sunset and beyond. We're talking about a nocturnal sort of situation with these severe thunderstorm chances, especially as we head through 5, 6, 7 o'clock. That's whenever we start to see that development really taking hold a big way off to our west. And I'd say by about 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, that's whenever we start to see the possibility of some severe weather in our area. So it's kind of a twofold system here, right? First of all, we got that big time line off to the west. By the time we're heading through 6, 7, 8, we're on Memphis and heading east. Now, check it out ahead of it. You start to see some cells out ahead of the line, right? These isolated cells pose in themselves a severe weather chance. If they can take advantage of the environment, they could start spinning, could produce some big updrafts, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes are possible. Now the main line moves through as we're heading through those overnight hours, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, absorbs what cells are left over and really consolidates into a fairly meat-looking line. I think the main threat with this is going to be those damaging winds, but a few tornadoes within that line, yeah, that could happen as well. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. We're probably going to be watching this through about 8 to 10 o'clock, pushing through, probably going to be about, I'd say, 11 to midnight for I-65 and east. Give it a couple hours of wiggle room. I'll discuss that more in a second. And by tomorrow morning, we're cooler. We got that wind out of the northwest. Still a few showers across the area, but no severe weather, clearing out for our Sunday. So let's take a look. All of us, and I do mean the entire area, is in at least a level 2 out of 5 risk. Now, off to our south and west, that's the core of the level 3, but we are trimmed by it. So notice Tishomingo County, Iuka out there, you're in the level 3 out of 5 risk. Portions southwest of Savannah, out there portions Lauderdale County, Colbert County, Franklin County, south of us down in Winston County, I-22 corridor, you're in that level 3 out of 5, right? So we are talking those elevated severe weather chances here as we head through the next several hours. Again, this is through tonight and into the midnight time frame, perhaps the early hours tomorrow morning, but I think for most of us, we're probably going to be talking right after sunset here, lasting through probably about 1 or 2 in the morning, perhaps as far as 3 a.m., pushing east of 65. Got to keep in mind here, don't take that exact face value. I'm not saying in Iuka it will be at exactly 8 p.m. I'm just giving you a general timeline of when we can approximately expect the threats to begin, because this gives wiggle room for the line to trend slower and faster, because do keep in mind right now we are still trying to predict the future, so it's not going to be exact just yet. But after sunset, 6 to 8, that's when we're talking northwest Alabama, southern middle Tennessee, lasting through 9, 10, 11 o'clock, pushing towards 65 by about midnight, probably that next couple hours afterwards. And then by the time we're heading through about this time, which is about 4 a.m. right now, tomorrow morning, it'll be off past 59, past Chattanooga. So we're going to be talking a nocturnal event. So let's keep that in mind, right? We're not going to be seeing the storms come in so much, at least in terms of outside of the lightning, right? So here are the threats. Tornadoes, yeah, a few tornadoes will be possible. Now, we're not talking a swarm of violent tornadoes, but it doesn't have to be that to be dangerous, right? So let's keep that in mind. A few tornadoes will be possible. First of all, with those cells, if they can take advantage of the environment ahead of the line, but also within that line that'll be moving through in the overnight hours as well. So we'll keep a close eye on that. High winds, damaging winds, in fact, 50 to 70 miles an hour within those thunderstorms, but even still, pretty gusty winds outside of that. But still, Also worth mentioning, doubly so, that it doesn't necessarily take 70 miles an hour in these conditions to knock down a tree, for example, because we're already very saturated. A good 50-mile-an-hour gust could easily do the trick as well. That's probably our highest threat in terms of the severe weather as a whole, the high wind chances. Hail, we're really not looking at huge hail chances. These big lines don't tend to produce that much hail because the updrafts kind of take on a different shape. Now, those cells out ahead of it, if they get advantage of the environment, could produce some hail up to quarter size if those updrafts can really sustain themselves. But again, I think this is more of a high wind chance as we head through the next several hours and really into this evening and tonight, and perhaps a few tornadoes. Now, also flooding, because we are getting more heavy rain. That flash flood threat is elevated because, again, like the wind threat I mentioned earlier, that saturated ground already, not doing us a lot of favors in that sense. Now, I think the higher totals will be off to our north and west. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has issued a high risk for flooding up there in the northwestern portions of Tennessee. So, yeah, they're definitely getting a lot of rainfall up there, but we're definitely not in any small chance either. So let's keep a close eye on that. Now, as we head over the next several days, well, we definitely cool down in a big way. So if you're kind of sick of the severe weather, for example, well, you're going to go back to winter pretty quickly. Those 60s are out of here soon, and we're back to the 40s, 30s, below freezing, and that has a few implications later in the week. But first, let's get through this severe chance as we head through tonight. Of course, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, we'll all be in the studio here through this morning, this afternoon, this evening, pretty much until the threat is done. And believe me, that's going to be me, Sam Camp, that's going to be Taylor Plott, it's going to be Fred Gossage, Chief, and Ben will be on standby as well. We are packed to the brim. We'll keep you updated through tonight. Don't you worry about a thing. If any warnings are issued, you know who to come to. We got it covered. Now, through tomorrow, it's ending, cooling down. Monday, Tuesday, look good, but we're going to need our coats, right? And yeah, your eyes don't deceive you. Wednesday, you do have that wintry chance, right? I mean, we got the red mode on one part of the board. We got winter weather on the other. I mean, hey, listen, it's a little bipolar out here, that weather, right? But hey, you know what? Like they say in the Tennessee Valley, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Thanks for joining me here for your Wake Up Weather. Of course, I'll be back with you at 7. I'll be live at 12. And me, Fred, Taylor, and Sam, and Ben on standby will be with you if anything happens.